This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Right. How you feeling, Ira? You feeling
good? I am doing good. I'm in this screen here. Doing good. Probably better than the Heat are right now, Big O. And I think we're looking at play-in. I hate to say it, but after the result last night, Indiana beating Brooklyn, they played them again in 2 days. Orlando holding off. It's crazy how the Heat can beat the Blazers by 60, and Orlando beats them on a last-second miss by DeAndre Ayton. But man, with Embiid coming back, all the stuff you and I have spoken about for 6 months on our accurate Pembroke Pines report, if you don't care enough in the regular season to get things right, you set yourself up for all or nothing. And it's kind of crappy because we know this Heat team is better than where they are in the standings. But man, they are in this perilous predicament right now.
Yeah, they are big time. And so it's tough, dude, to see. You know, I'm going to tell you something twisted.
Okay.
I feel terrible for the Heat organization. I feel terrible for Pat Riley. I feel terrible for Eric Spoelstra. I feel terrible for Mickey Arison because I know they all mean well. They all want to win.
True.
And we all thought that Jimmy was a Heat type of player, which a Heat type of player is a person that works hard from beginning to end, like any of their employees, players, or, right. You know, you've been around that organization. I mean, you know how it is. That entire organization, top to bottom, is elite. Period. Yes. End of story, okay? All you got to do is be around them, and you'll see why it grows and why people are there forever and why they thrive, because everybody is of the same thinking. And this one guy has changed the work ethic of the entire franchise. Not that they don't work the same way, right, but it's just the perception of it. And it's kind of damaging for them when I know it's not really their fault because they really were trying to win and they had to acquire a star. This is the star they could get. The star has done a marvelous. We can't say that these 4 years have been anything but perfect almost.
Three conference finals out of 4 years. Can't do much better than that. Sure.
2 finals. You can't do better. None of us would have even predicted 1 Eastern Conference Finals for these guys.
Right.
Not 1. If we told you 4 years ago they're going to make it to 1 Eastern Conference Finals, you would have said, no, they're not.
Right.
They got to be Jimmy. No, it's not. And what they've done is amazing. But the perception, the image, and all that kind of stuff, it's got to be the most frustrating time right now for them. While they have success in the way they're going about it, it's not the Heat way, dude. It's really weird.
You know what? But I think you have to adjust to the times also, Big O. So I think what you're seeing right now is this is what it takes. Is, you know, look, if Pat Riley was here, Jimmy Butler wouldn't able to do any of this. Well, Pat's still here, but if Pat was here as coach, and I think the difference is you adjust to the players. I think that's what makes Eric Spoelstra a great coach for this time period. The world has changed. If Pat Riley was kicking Anthony Mason out of the gym like he did in New York, or was telling, Antoine Walker and James Posey, get your butt in the workout room, you're suspended until you stop sweating alcohol, but definitely sort of lose some weight. It's just a different time right now. The Jimmy thing has been the most confounding thing to me in really the 3 decades I've done the Heat for this reason. You want to lash out. You want to say something. You want to go, this is bullcrap. And yet I'm on the Acura Pembroke Pines report with Big O in June talking about the Heat being in the NBA Finals or having just lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. So let me ask you this. It's just sort of like your show. You might have a guest on who's a pain in the ass to deal with, maybe me, and someone, but you know, for all the crap you have to go through, lining up schedule times, getting him on the air, making sure his camera works and everything, man, that is 20 minutes of gold right there. So you put up with it. And I'm sure you've had some guests like that where you've had Sean calling someone, where the hell is so-and-so? He's supposed to be on at 11:30. So it's like in any walk of life. You know this, Big O. You follow rock bands. You know some of these superstars have been so temperamental, you don't even know if they're going to come on stage or be there or be sober for their concerts.
Axl Rose. Yeah.
Okay. But when they show up, they're gold. And you're
Right.
sitting there in the stands and you're going, I don't know if this guy's effed up. I don't know if he just got to the arena 5 minutes earlier, but man, this is special. And so that's what you do with let's call Jimmy a temperamental artist. And that's why I've said from the start, and I've said it on the accurate Pembroke Pines report here before also, Jimmy Butler might be the best game mate in the NBA. Lights go on, he gives you his all. Is he the best teammate? I'm not so sure because
Right.
others look at him and say, well, I only have to show up for 60 games. Well, I could just show up when I damn well please and do what I damn well want. It works for him, but it doesn't mean it works in the rest of the locker room. So I think these next 3 weeks, let's Sean, you can tape this. Let's see how it happens. Will determine Jimmy Butler's future with the tape, Sean. We're rolling now. If Jimmy Butler pulls them through to a good playoff spot and gets them through to the Eastern Conference Finals, then Big O will go, man, Ira, all the BS was worth it.
Yeah.
If not, then we really, when we do our accurate Pembroke Pines reports this summer, we'll be talking about Jimmy, the extension, a possible trade, redoing the roster. Where do you go from here? And Big O, here's the thing, and I was talking to someone else who covers the Heat this morning about this. If the Heat do go to the play-in, it means guaranteed in the first round they're playing the number 1 or number 2 seeds, the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. I've got to tell you this. I will take anyone else in the East and give the Heat a shot. Over the Knicks, over the Cavaliers, over the Magic, I'm fine. But Milwaukee has revenge on its mind after what happened against the Heat last year. And the Celtics are one of the greatest teams in the NBA in the regular season over the last decade. Right up there with those Warriors teams that set records. If the Heat go to the play-in, and you can tell me, Ira, don't worry, Embiid is just coming around, they'll beat them, maybe they will. If you say, Ira, they just lost to the Sixers, don't worry, the Bulls and the Hawks are garbage, they'll beat them, maybe they will. But then they'll get the Celtics if they have to play that last chance game. Or they'll get the Bucks if they play the second to last chance game. They've positioned themselves really crappy with the games they've given away, and the games that they gave away came with players taking the night off. You can't take nights off when you're not great. When you're great, you can take nights off. When you're the LeBron, Dwayne, and Chris Bosh Heat, you can give guys the night off because you're going to get your 60 wins, your 55 wins anyway. That's not true with this team. They have dug their hole, and now we can see if they can climb out of it. I'm not so sure that from being 6 feet under, they aren't already 5 feet under.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That's the frustrating part about watching it. But again, it's like the results are the results. And so and this is why we have some guy was reaching out to me on Twitter, like, hey, what a great weekend. And I'm like, no, dude, they beat Portland and Washington. That's not a great weekend. They did what they were supposed to do.
They did what they were supposed to. And in other games, they didn't do what they were supposed to when they lost to the Wizards here, when they strung out games and wore guys down in Detroit, having to rely on a Bam Adebayo last-minute shot, when they played competitively in Dallas and Oklahoma City but could not finish the deal, just like that last game against the Knicks in the Garden. This is when it bites you. Big O, let's be honest about something here. There are 15 teams in the Eastern Conference. The Miami Heat right now are in 7th place. They're in the middle. They're mediocre. They're just another team. You know, this is not like we're talking about, whoa, the Heat, if they can get to 2, get home court in the second round. Or if the Heat get to 4, they get home court in the first round. We're talking about just making the playoffs. You can use your Jim Mora voice there if you want. This has not been a great season. This has barely been a good season. Seventh place puts you right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, this is a bad season that can only get better if you make a run into the playoffs and start winning against the teams you didn't win against consistently. So that's the only way. The postseason is the only way to make your season better than what it was. Because unfortunately,
and that's been their miracle formula. And maybe it happens again. But Big O, how often does lightning strike twice in the same place?
Very rare, man. Very rare. I mean, ask the Marlins. They want to be the 2003 Marlins or the 15 Royals. That's what they want to do. They want to catch lightning in a bottle with a bunch of young guys. That shit happens once in your lifetime, and it ain't gonna happen again, dude. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of what it is. And you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle again, that you're gonna come all the way back from the play-in, and that's irresponsible, man.
It's like both of our teams in town now. The Heat are hoping lightning in a bottle from Butler. The Panthers are hoping lightning in a bottle from Bob. They were both great in last year's playoffs. They can be great again. We have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, we definitely not. Yeah, the Panther thing, we got to. There's some heavy stuff that we got to get into with the Panther thing. At this point in time, health wise, everybody's back pretty much except Tyler.
Well, it's just interesting because it's funny how you said by Tyler. It's almost like we've forgotten about him, and like we're not even counting on him anymore. And I don't know.
You really. You accomplish plenty without him, so it's all.
Well,
good.
I thought one of my readers had a really good point in response on Twitter. He says, "How remarkable is it that Joel Embiid will be back before Tyler Herro? That Joel Embiid, who went out in January with something considered more serious and more limiting and more debilitating, is going to come back possibly against the Heat on Thursday night, and we're still waiting on Tyler." Now, you don't know the human body. We're not doctors. We didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so you don't know how serious it is. He took the injection. If the injection schedule was as planned, 1 week without activity to let the injection settle, 2 weeks of amping back up, he could be back as soon as Friday in Houston. And he sort of has to be, because that's the season right here for the Heat. The Heat are going to have to finish 6-2 at least to have a chance to get to number 6. Well, you've got a closing schedule against the Knicks, against the Sixers, a red-hot Rockets team. Then you have the Pacers. Then you have the Mavericks, who've been playing well. The Heat is a team that has struggled against winning teams all year. You better have your best on the court. What's Tyler going to come back? What's he going to look like? Where's he going to play? Is he going to start? Is Terry Rozier going to be the same player if Tyler's there also? Man, Big O, we're in April and we still have questions. That's not what you want.
Yeah, no, and unfortunately, if you're Spo, you have to go with what's been established and what's working, because Tyler is just a huge question mark. Always has been, always will be. How does he fit? Can he stay in the lineup? All that kind of stuff. And none of it is ever consistent. So if it's not consistent, you can't count on it. Right now, the most consistency you have is Terry and not Tyler. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, because every time you put all the chips in for Tyler, he fails every single time. So if you're Spo, you have to bring him off the bench. And it's kind of like a feel-out process. Are you playing well tonight? Okay, great. I'll use you more. Are you not? All right, well, you're going to go to the bench more.
Well, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree in one extent. I believe this Heat roster cannot thrive without Tyler right now. They simply don't have enough offense. They don't have enough guys who give you points. We've seen it, Big O, in the losses. These scores in the 90s, barely breaking 100. God bless Jimmy and Bam and Terry, but they need that offensive jolt. So the thought is, if Tyler can come back as a reserve, as a starter, as instant energy, whatever it takes, and just give them 15 more points, that takes them from the 95 to the 110 that they need. So I think Tyler sort of is essential, but you just don't know where he is right now.
Right, and I like that. But you can do that off the bench, where you can kind of get a feel. If you got it going, kid, I'll keep milking you. If you're not, then I'm going to keep you on the bench a little bit, because I know what I have already. You're going to need to, in other words, I would make Tyler earn his minutes and his opportunities. And the more consistency he gives me, the more he earns it. If he doesn't give me the consistency, then I dial it down, because I cannot hurt the team. At this point, it's almost like the Zoe thing. You covered it, and so did I.
Yes.
Riley was waiting for him to come back from the kidney. Meanwhile, everything was actually flowing with Anthony Mason
and Brian Grant and
Brian Grant, all that. And then all of a sudden, Riley had figured that out. And then Riley made that mistake.
Hey, Big O, and I know what you're saying, and people they crapped out against Charlotte, but Pat Riley at that time thought, in order to get to a championship level, I need Zoe or I'm not going anywhere. So let me ask you this. Big O. We saw what the Heat were last year. They went through the playoffs except for one half of one game without Tyler. Did the Heat have enough to go deep in the playoffs without Tyler Herro this year? And maybe you think they do. And if they do, that's one thing. But if they don't, then you have to ride with Tyler and see what he brings you.
No, I understand that. Here's my problem with this, and it's your problem, and it's everybody's problem. We don't know what we're getting, because the team we got in the regular season is not the team we get in the postseason. So all of a sudden, Caleb Martin's playing, and he's out of his mind, and Terry Rozier will be out of his mind, and
Jimmy Butler shows up. Sure, yeah.
Butler shows up, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, where the fuck was this team the entire year? Like, you guys are playing out of your minds against some of the best in the NBA, and you're getting to the finals.
And yet I still think it comes down to Jimmy Butler. And a matter of fact, since we're doing the show today on Tuesday, I would even say this. They're playing the Knicks tonight, and the Knicks without Randall and OG. Okay, so they're injured.
Yeah.
This is the night I need to see Jimmy Butler as the best player on the court. Jalen Brunson is great. Is going to be all NBA this season. Is going to get votes for MVP as one of the top 5.
Deserves it.
If the Heat are who we think they could be in the playoffs, it needs to start tonight. And I need to see right now, if you're asking me, Ira, based on what you've seen over the last 2 weeks, who's the best player when the Heat play the Knicks tonight? I'm going to tell you it's Jalen Brunson because he's coming off a 61-point performance. So if Jimmy Butler can still conjure playoff Jimmy Butler, this is a perfect night to instill confidence, to tell people, I'm still here. I can still get it done. If Jimmy Butler gives me another 15 or 17 points, you might be screwed, Big O.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then it's really what I've been saying is that, bro, there's no gas left in the tank. Because if he can't do that now, and we're only a couple games out of the end of the regular season, if he can't start becoming, playoff Jimmy from here on out, then that's a really scary thing too, because the next 2 years are going to get even uglier than what we've seen.
I'm even going to put off the next 2 years and talk about the next 2 weeks. Jimmy Butler's an older player. We know that, 34 years old. If you miss the play-in and make the playoffs, you get a week off between your April 14th season finale against Toronto and either Saturday or Sunday starting the next round. So if Jimmy Butler really cares about his body, really cares about being playoff ready, he can create a 1-week vacation. And honestly, Big O, I don't give a rat's butt if he goes to Colombia and finds more coffee beans during that week, if he gets to rest. So basically what you're telling someone is this. You can earn a week off with your best play in the next 8 games. Can you give it to us? This has to be a moment of meaning now, because I got to tell you, Big O, if you're in the play-in, you're going to play Toronto on April 14th on Sunday. Let's say you're the road team against Philly. On Monday, you're flying to Philadelphia. On Tuesday, you're playing Philadelphia. If you lose to Philadelphia, you have to fly back home. And on Friday, you're playing Chicago or Atlanta. And if you win that game, on Saturday, you're flying to Milwaukee or Boston, and you're starting on Sunday, and it's grueling. Jimmy, do you want a week off? Earn your vacation right now. We'll give you a bonus week.
That's it. I don't have a problem with that. All right, what do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, I still want to have a little fun. So I wrote a story about Alondes Williams. His nickname is Man Man, and I was kind of curious as to why in the background. He said, hey, when you're from the Midwest and you're a cantankerous child, your mima, your grandma calls you Man Man. And I looked it up, and yep, Jamal Cain said he was a Man Man. Kendrick Lamar was a Man Man. But then I told Alondes, how seriously do you take it? And if you go to sunsentinel.com, on each arm on the back is the word man and the word man. He wears his nickname on his sleeve, literally. Fun story, fun kid. Remember, Big O, this is a guy who had a 55-point game and a 45-point game in Sioux Falls for the Skyforts. So we're talking about future Heat scoring. Maybe you trade Jimmy, maybe you trade Tyler. This could be a guy to keep an eye out on. So I wrote about that. And in my Ask Ira, I wrote about when Joel Embiid comes back, everything changes in the play-in race. So Heat, you better damn well be ready, because we're going to see Joel Embiid, I think, on Thursday when the Sixers come in for that showdown for the season series tiebreaker against the Heat.
Yeah, tonight will be telling. You lose this game, and with them missing 2 of their better players, that will not be
at home. It's your damn home court. Defend it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his exceptional work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Catch you next week from the road from Atlanta. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. Thank you. There you go. Ira Winderman. And don't forget, they've got it going on right now. 15601 Pines Boulevard, the Spring into Performance sales event going on right now. The 2024 Integra $299, the RDX 2024 $419, the MDX $489. And guess what, folks? You can get 1.9% financing for 36 months. Tell them that Big O sent you. Go check it out. The lot is loaded with beautiful vehicles, new and certified pre-owned, so you can walk around that lot and pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want, but more importantly, the price you want at the finest dealership in the business, #1 volume sales dealership in the United States. Craig Zid's, Acura of Pembroke Pines.